Now we are moving on to the substantive part of this 9th Athens Conference on EU Energy Law and Policy. Panel 1, it's about aggregation and storage as climate action catalysts, from renewable energy sources and battery energy storage services to carbon capture and storage. As I already mentioned earlier, we woke up today to the European Union saying already targets set by 2030 are not going to be achieved, or at least not going to be achieved as quickly or to the level that had been envisaged just a couple of years ago. And some of these targets have much to do with climate action, have to do with the development of renewable energy sources, as well as technologies such as batteries and carbon capture and storage. And this is going to be the topic of the panels that we will have today. Something that I also wanted to discuss and share with you is that yesterday was announced a big reform that will come in perhaps 2026 or 2027, which is the Great Package of the European Union. And the Great Package of the European Union has much to do with some of the elements that we are going to be discussing today, in particular that of batteries and storage. This is the topic that our first speaker, Olga-Maria Kyritsi, Senior Legal Counsel of BayWa EMEA, is going to be presenting us today. She is going to be speaking about updates regarding the Greek storage landscape. I know Olga-Maria from several years because she has been participating in our conference before. She has a law degree. She has a master's from the University of Queen Mary, which is another one of the organizers. And she's an expert on these issues concerning storage. And I would like to say, Olga-Maria, thank you so much for joining us today and for the times that you have done in the past. And we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Ignacio. Good morning. I would also like to thank you for coordinating this panel. Also thank Professor Metaxas and the Institute for this kind invitation. So I will try to share my screen and start. Is it already shared? Okay. Sorry. So I will be speaking today about the legal updates regarding the Greek energy storage landscape. As Ignacio mentioned, it's a very important topic regarding the energy transition. And just to make a very brief introduction, a necessary introduction about the definition of the storage. Energy storage means in the electricity system.
Olga-Maria, just excuse me for this, but could you please put them on full screen because you have them on a PowerPoint?
Yes. I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You're the first one. Okay. It's always tricky when it comes to doing sharing on screen. Excellent.
I hope it's okay right now. Thank you.
Now we can see them.
Great. So according to the Directive 944 of 2019, energy storage means the deferring of the final use of electricity to a moment later than when it was generated, or the conversion of electrical energy into a form of energy which can be stored, the storing of such energy, and the subsequent reconversion of such energy to electrical energy or use as another energy carrier. The main storage technologies right now is the mechanical storage through pump hydro storage, the chemical storage through battery energy storage systems, the thermal energy storage, and hydrogen that is being spoken about a lot. As regards the Greek legal regime, until recently, and despite the directive, the relevant directive, the broader legislative and institutional framework for storage in Greece was unclear, if not non-existent. Due to the above, in February 2021, the European Commission sent the country a reasoned opinion for not fully incorporating the EU rules on the internal electricity market. And following that reasoned opinion, in July 2022, Law 4951 of 2022 was introduced when Greece finally incorporated the provisions of the directive. Following that, amendment to important laws took place, so that energy storage was recognized as a separate sector in the Greek energy market. So according to law introduced in Greece, of course, storage was recognized as a distinct energy activity, along with production, supply, purchase, etc., and was also classified as a public utility service under state supervision. The counting separation of electricity companies with regard to the exercise of electricity storage activities was established in order to avoid cross subsidies, and the conditions and the procedure for licensed storage plants by the regulatory authority were defined. Also, the conditions for the electronic register were set. The obligation of the conditions for drafting the new license regulations specifically for storage were provided for, and the exceptional possibility for the operation of the transition system and the distribution system to own, develop, operate, and manage storage facilities was provided for. Especially as regards the energy storage license, this is granted by the regulatory authority for a period of 25 years and may be expanded for an equal period. The applications are submitted electronically within the first 10 days of each month, and RAE maintains an electronic register of electricity storage through which electricity storage licenses are issued. The storage is provided to be issued in accordance with the storage license regulation. However, it has to be noted that at this point, such regulation it has not been yet issued. So all licensing is regulated by the regulation of electricity production and supply licenses. A special mention should be made in the National Plan for Energy and Climate of 2024, where especially for battery storage systems, the target was set to 4.3 gigawatts by 2030. The national plan specifies that storage units, of course, contribute to the smoothing of the fluctuations in the price of electricity. It can participate in the balancing market, providing flexibility and ancillary services. And of course, the storage systems in combination with RES, the collocation, can help better manage the energy produced by RES station, minimizing the application of injection restrictions. So, as expected, Greek state, in order to support this new technology in the Greek market, contemplated the state aid scheme that was notified to the Commission in 2022 for a scheme for a financial scheme of amounting to 341 euros for 900 megawatts. Following the approval of the Commission, the relevant law was introduced and provided for the institutional framework for investment aid and annual operating aid granted to electricity storage station connected to Hellenic electricity transmission system. According to law, the aid shall take the form of an additional compensation over the net revenue from the operation of the storage station within the electricity markets. By the ministerial decision of 2023, specific terms and conditions for competitive procedures were set, and following that, the regulatory authority announced 2 competitive tendering procedures using the single-step static auction method for the granting of investment and operating aid to electricity storage station. This aid scheme provides subsidies for both the capex of the projects at 200,000 megawatts and their operation through the provision of predetermined annual revenues per installed capacity for a period of 10 years. Under the support scheme, operational aid is calculated annually as the difference between the daily revenues as submitted at auction by each project and the actual revenues from the market when they become operational. So the first tender was concluded in August 2023, where the final awarded capacity met the initial target of 400 megawatts. And the average price of the selected projects, it has to be stated that it was significantly lower from the bid price, around 50,000 euros per megawatt per year, for storage units with a duration greater than or equal to 2 hours. The second tender also was concluded in November 2023, where the final awarded capacity also amounted to 299 megawatts to 11 selected participants, also meeting the auction capacity. And also the average price was at around 50,000 euros per megawatt per year, which is significantly lower than the bid price. The third tender was concluded recently in January 2025. It gave exclusive eligibility for regions of Western Macedonia and the Peloponnese region, which are former coal mining areas where the focus was given. The awarded capacity also was around 200 megawatts to 9 selected participants. As a general assessment on these 3 tenders that took place last years, it has, of course, to be stated that the target of 900 megawatts of storage facilities for receiving this support was met, which is something, of course, very satisfying. However, there are some points that need to be emphasized here. All selected participants in all 3 bid tenders have to apply for the activation of the station by certain deadlines in 2026. In case the above deadlines are not met, there is a financial penalty linked to a gradual forfeiture of the bank guarantee submitted. And if delays are big, could eventually result in facility exclusion from the support scheme. In any case, all projects needs to be activated by summer 2026, otherwise the RRF fund is in danger. And in general, market estimates that some facilities, some projects that were successful in these 3 tenders maybe not be able to be activated within the deadlines. So, following the state aid regime, the state is trying now to support the merchant battery energy storage systems, storage projects that do not receive subsidies but operate with the revenues derived purely from the energy market. Within this framework, the ministry sought to meet the target of the national plan of 4.3 gigawatts by 2030, including the 900 megawatts already allocated through the competitive procedures. So, ministerial decision of March 2025 has been issued. This ministerial decision has established a fast-track priority procedure for granting connection terms for selected storage projects. This priority regime concerns exclusively standalone BESS and sets the eligibility criteria, the technical characteristics, all the anti-concentration criteria and evaluation criteria, as well as the penalties applicable in the event of non-compliance with law. After several extensions, the deadline for the submission of the relevant application was in October 2025, where the application really exceeded expectations, as we have learned by the ministry. More than 700 applications were submitted. And more precisely, applications exceeding 5.4 gigawatts were submitted to the transmission system operator, where the limit was 3.8 gigawatts. And as regards the distribution network operator, the application exceeded 1.2 gigawatts with a limit of 900 megawatts. Another point in order to support battery energy storage system is adding storage units to existing and new RES stations. By Law 51 of 2024, there was provided a regime for the possibility of adding such storage units to existing and new RES plants. There is a possibility for photovoltaic plants to be converted, if technically possible, into stations with an incorporated storage system behind the meter, upon submission by April 30 of 2025 of the relevant application. The useful capacity of batteries to be installed shall be at least equal to 1 hour of the installed capacity of the corresponding station. The plant shall be compensated on the basis of the hourly market price of the day-ahead market for the energy they feed into the grid. And it was specified that the operating support contracts and the PPAs that are already in force shall remain in force and will not be affected. What we see as future perspectives and maybe some tricky points in Greece for the battery energy systems is that, of course, energy storage is currently at the core of the investor interest, which is now shifting away from RES projects and focusing more on batteries. 2026 is expected to be the first year that the batteries will be added to the energy system. And we see a rapid expansion of such systems due to the fact that there is a significant cost reduction as the years go by. And of course, the combination, the co-located, the hybrid projects are expected to become more competitive than standalone systems and standalone batteries, as the added value of the availability outweighs the additional cost of constructing such a system, cost which is in any case gradually decreasing. It has to be noted, however, that at this point there are bottlenecks in the granting of connection terms, especially regarding merchant batteries. The regulatory framework is not totally clear as regards the collocation of batteries and RES station. And of course, this affects the banks, and there is a reservation by the banks to finance such projects due to the above topics. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olga-Maria. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. And we start in a great way understanding what is the landscape in Greece with 3 tenders for batteries and how this is scaling up. Thank you again for being in this session.